So this is the OnePlus 6. It's got a new all-glass design, better specs, and you know what? Let's take a step back. The OnePlus 6 is new, but it's not new. It's an evolution, sure, but this is almost entirely an evolution of hardware. Look, OnePlus needs to follow the trends. They're still hip and cool. They only sell one phone on their website, but they still have to keep up with the hardware trends to stay relevant. Everyone's doing dual cameras, OnePlus 5. Small bezels, OnePlus 5T. Glass, OnePlus 6. You could say that OnePlus is copying everyone else's hardware, but it's really the software that sets them apart. Look, the point I'm trying to make here is that OnePlus delivers a consistent experience. The minute I picked up this phone, I thought, this feels like a OnePlus device. But why is that? Well, it turns out it's all in the software. Now, I could sit here and tell you what it's like to use this phone, but if you've used a OnePlus phone before, you probably already know that. It's fast, it's clean, it's nearly stock Android, and that is what makes the OnePlus 6 the new Nexus. The OnePlus 6 is running on Oxygen OS 5.1.3, which is based on Android 8.1 Oreo. That is the latest and greatest that Google has to offer, and that is no mistake. It's becoming more and more apparent that people want more control of their mobile experience, and isn't that the whole point of Android? OnePlus even announced that the OnePlus 6 is getting the Android P beta at launch. In a way, this is OnePlus letting Google update their software, but is that a bad thing? Not in my book. Software might be one of the most defining features of OnePlus phones, but this thing has some of the best specs available on the market today. Now, specs are kind of leveling out, so you're probably not going to notice a huge variance over performance of the 5T, but as a recap, this thing has Snapdragon 845, 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64, 128, and 256 gigabytes of storage, 6.28-inch AMOLED display, notch, 16 and 20 megapixel f1.7 rear cameras, 16 megapixel f2 selfie camera, 3300 mAh battery, bottom firing speaker, USB-C, headphone jack. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's continue. The camera hasn't really improved over the 5T, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The images come out sharp and with really accurate color. They've even added optical image stabilization and slow-mo video, so your photos and videos should be a lot more stable. I would have liked that telephoto lens to make a comeback, but OnePlus decided to outfit this with 19% bigger pixels for better low-light performance. That 3300 mAh battery that I was worried about, it actually holds up really well. I got about 5.5 hours of screen on time with this thing, and dash charging makes it charge extremely quickly. Now, I'm not really sure why they didn't include wireless charging in this thing since it's made completely of glass, and I would have liked to see OnePlus implement that here. Sum up all these specs and what do you see? The OnePlus 6 was built for enthusiasts. Now, where did these enthusiasts previously get their fix? That was the Nexus line. These phones aren't sold in carrier stores. They are available exclusively online, and you're only probably gonna get one if you are super hyped about Android. If you followed the evolution of the Nexus line, you probably saw that those phones were getting nicer and nicer over time. The 5X and the 6P were long hailed as some of the best designs in the history of Android. This is exactly what OnePlus is doing here. Year over year, these phones have gotten more premium, and year over year, they've become better than the last. The OnePlus 6 both looks and feels solid. It's made almost completely out of Gorilla Glass 5, and it has a weight that makes me feel like it can really take a punch. It's probably my favorite OnePlus design to date, and I actually like it quite a bit more than the 5T. OnePlus even gave each different color of this phone a different special coating, which makes each variant pretty unique. The powder white model feels like it's covered in, well, powder, and the mirror black model bends light reflecting off its surface. These phones feel just about as premium as you're going to get in a phone today, and I'm really surprised with what OnePlus was able to deliver at this price point. Oh, right, that price. Well, it is still low for flagship standards, but it is creeping. The OnePlus 3T was $439. The 5 was $479. The 5T was $499, and the 6, yeah, that's $529. Prices are hiking every generation just like the Nexus line did, which resulted in the Google Pixel. OnePlus has created a cult-like fan base, and for good reason. These phones are fast, they're clean, and they're almost always certain to get the latest and greatest version of Android. In a way, this is Google's doing, not OnePlus's. These phones deliver a consistent experience, which is just about as close to the Nexus or Pixel as you're going to get, but it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Don't be surprised if they do at some point though, because OnePlus seems to be following Google's trajectory to a T. So that's been the OnePlus 6. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out across all of our social networks, because of course, we are your source for all things Android.